The realm of crypto right now looks so boring that we are not moving up or down much in terms of the price. Most of the large caps are like that. Only a few are moving to the upside. Some of these are slowly grinding higher, but that's only a few coins inside this market. We still want these big caps to give us a confirmation whether we are going up or down. We still have to look at these and understand whether they are showing us a trend which is going to the upside or to the downside, because basically we are looking what's happening in the price action. And at the same time, we also should be looking at the fundamentals, like what really is happening in the market right now. Is it actually going bearish? People are selling more, or is it like people are buying more? Because it actually gives you an idea just looking at these charts, right? If you go zoom out on a macro, you're trying to see like what's happening right now, and you're like, okay, this is actually something which dropped heavily. And it is right now testing the previous all-time high. So it's just a basic chart where you are not doing anything huge, just looking at the price action, right? So understanding that people are buying at these levels with these amount of money, it should be under possible area where they think it's good to buy in. At least they do think that. Then on the fundamental side, we do see things evolving, and there is a lot happening in the market, right? There are rumors this can happen, but majority does not believe that. And yes, I agree with all these drama from ACC. It's really hard to even believe anything which comes in the market because we have been gone through a lot already. So it's going to be really hard. Then as we understand what these macro traders actually giving you, it does actually make sense to understand like, okay, these kind of market situation happens historically, and the next wave of the future is being built. So it's as investors, it's our decision to understand what's happening. See, I actually saw a tweet from Witness, and I'm like, yeah, that's actually concerning, right? You do have to understand CBDC is coming out in this form. It's not going to be great for a lot of us. Even the Walmart gift card give you an extended length of duration, whereas this one is like you have to spend it by this time. Now, why do you think that is? Because the macroeconomics, if you remember, we went through this a month or 2 weeks, 3 weeks back talking about this, because a lot of people do not understand. For them, your savings is a leakage. Go check any macroeconomic text and you'll actually see them talking about the total income is like the consumption, government spending, investment, your saving, exports minus imports. This is like the basic sense there. But this one, if it increases, it's bad for the system, at least in their consideration. And that's how the system is created. It's built in that way. So don't be surprised when that kind of things evolve, because this thing which you observe here, it is not just because of what's happening right now. It's because they wanted this to happen. What does that actually mean, right? We will break down that and give you the perspective and then go through what the market is actually showing you, because some of these are a little bit concerning. And then the technical aspects as well, because the price can still drop. Right now you're close to 17 and you can still come back down to the support, which is 15. What are the odds for that? That's what we're going to look at now. Welcome to the Scientific Investor family, where the normal common retail guys learn how to become the next top 10% of this world. Now, I remember we in the last video talked about liquidity. We in the last video talked about what it actually means to talk about liquidity, on-demand liquidity, and else. We actually did all those here. And then I actually happened to see the IMF coming out and talking clearly about liquidity, giving that perspective clearly. And I'm like, okay, that's literally great, because when I say, people can say, okay, this guy don't know anything. Now it's the IMF coming out there and giving you what liquidity term means. So whenever you just hear the term liquidity, don't just go bite on its on-demand liquidity, right? That's just for your information. Now, coming back to what this actually means. if the macroeconomics is created in a way that your savings is a leakage, then this is supposed to happen for sure. So look at this. The US household net worth is falling with the drop in the housing market. So they are right now observing that their portfolio is dropping. A lot of people just consider their house as an investment. And from Robert Kiyosaki, if you have learned something, you already know that it is not, right? So it's dropping. The rates are still going up. Now they are slowing down a little bit here and there, but it's still going higher. That means the value of assets are coming down. But right now, interest rates are slowing down at the top. That means asset prices should be slowing down at the bottom. As soon as they slow down and reverse, this will slow down and reverse. So if you are in the market to see assets going up, understand these happens here and there. Say this is TWT. If you go here in the market and you look at this, you'll see, you'll see assets which actually move like this. And then this is something. Right now, if you look at the price, it is like 2.67, but this was our call. Now, it's a little bit early call. I was trying to see the breakout. RSI did not actually give us the breakout, but after that, it took like a week and then it broke higher. Great. And right now, if you go look at the price, it's here. So this is what I actually told to the members actually, guys, have patience. Patience is the hard part. And this is just 1 month. Understand, we are XRP holders. We've been holding for like years, right? So for us, patience is now discipline. Right now, if you're in the market and you're trying to trade, make sure you understand the pattern, make sure you understand the measured move, and you take your profits somewhere close to that top or just below that. Not above that, below that. Say 80%, 85% of the target, take your profits. Now, a lot of other coins are slowly trying to move higher. So if you are in that, once it breaks higher on a shorter horizon, you may see a retest. Don't be scared. That will happen, right? Now, the same concept, if you are taking it into XRP, you are like, we did not actually see a break to the upside. We did not actually see a break to the downside. We are still waiting on this pattern to do something for us. Same here for Bitcoin. This is a daily chart and we are looking for this pattern and we are like, okay, that's a falling wedge, which is a good news, but we did not get break to the upside. We still have the support here at 15,000 and we wish we see it coming to 18,500, break that level to the upside. But at this moment, looking at Ether, XRP, and all these big large cap coins, we are like, we are not actually giving, or at least the market is not actually giving us something which is actually bullish, super bullish, right, on the short-term scenario. But yes, I do agree, as you zoom out on the macro scale, which is the monthly, you are like, okay, we actually put in the bottom here. It does feel like we are slowing down here. So we may actually observe a price bounce to the upside somewhere close in Ether terms, 2,600, 2,700. And if you take Bitcoin on the same horizon on a monthly chart, you will observe that Bitcoin put in a new low here, but Ether did not. Then you go on further to your monthly chart of XRP, which is actually interesting, right? Which is really interesting. At the same time, XRP did put in the low, and right now it's here. It did not actually go below that. So right now, altcoins are gaining more momentum than Bitcoin. And some altcoins like XRP is still holding strong. So utility is going to be a big part of this because the investors who step into this market, they will actually look for that brighter future. They will actually know, yes, there is a lot of bad actors, but at the same time, you also have a lot of good things, business models which are really great, projects which are really strong here and being screwed for being strong and being transparent. So that's like, okay, the system is trying to slow you down. In other words, the matrix is prepared in a way that it can slow you down and push you out. And you don't have to fall for that. Rather, you will learn more and stay here. So right now, nothing has changed. You are still inside this pattern. Your support is here. So if you happen to drop first support, it's here, 0.3, 0.33. Then it's all the way down here. So we really don't want the price to actually drop. And what we are waiting to see is that the price break the moving average to the upside on at least on a daily. Right now, we broke that to the downside. We are gathering momentum. That's why on a shorter time horizon, we are observing this one. Whether we bounce from here or not is a big question, because historically speaking, descending triangles are not that great for bulls, right? So we will look at this and check like what the market suggests us. You go in here, you just type in descending triangle, go look at this. When the price is coming from the bottom, it shows you it can go down. When the price is coming from the top, it still shows you it can go down. So you now get the point. Clearly, it actually shows you higher odds in this pattern is to the downside. So if you actually happen to see a descending triangle, now the question is like, okay, we need to break higher, which usually only happens like 30-35% of the time. So majority is stacked against you in the shorter time horizon, and your support is clearly close to 0.3. So if you are here in the market and short term is not looking good, understand on the other end lies this move too. Why am I saying this? Because when you actually come into the market and see a lot of these small coins starting to bounce, and you move through first 100, the next 100, the next 100, and you actually see some of these coins are actually breaking through a trend line. I remember I happened to do a couple of charts today in the group, and I saw like, long-term trend lines. These are really important. Long-term corrective trend lines are being broken by some of these assets, which is really important. And not all of them are giving you the same thought process. Say, for example, here you go look at Wasrix, right? Here you can go on a daily chart, you can go on a 3-day chart, whichever you like, and you just focus on what's happening there, right? And the trend line actually gives you an idea that you're still here. You did not actually break to the upside. You still the price is still waiting there to show you a signal of breaking higher. Whereas some assets are breaking to the upside, which is actually a positive signal, because the long-term corrective trend lines breaking to the upside gives you a major signal. The issue is not all assets are doing that right this moment. Some of them are testing that. A few just broke that to the upside. So concern here is when Bitcoin is not doing anything, the alt market, the large caps are not moving up, can these small coins run and sustain that run? Now, I do believe we are going to hit these targets, but after that, it may actually come back down. But the difference between a lot of other assets, TWT, the wallet-based tokens here is people right now have issues trusting the centralized exchanges. Even Binance is being thrown out, right? Say, Mr. Whale is actually highlighting you a thought process where the proof of reserves, what Binance did is not legit. Now, I personally don't think so, but that's the narrative here. And, this is a big guy. So automatically, a lot of people look at this and they may say, FTX went down. Celsius went down. This time, I'm not taking any risk. Let me move out to a wallet, right? So that's why you actually see attention going into these wallet-based tokens, that kind of decentralized exchanges and all. They are getting adoption. So the narrative, if it's moving to that direction, yeah, that's a fundamental change. And then technically, you're breaking to the upside. So you should be keeping your eyes on these stuff. It's not only one token. There are some of others who are doing the same. Say, for example, there's another one which broke to the upside, went up rapid, came back down, is testing that support right now, and it may bounce soon. As soon as it bounces, yes, I'm going to post that in the group, don't worry. But the concern for us is like we are heavy on XRP. So these small trades, if it's actually still giving you a 5x, it's not a big thing. Yeah, you get liquidity to buy more XRP if you want to, but the concern is not that, right? The ACC case, can it get solved by December 15th? Looking at the price, I really don't think like big guys, the whales, are preparing for that. Because if they win, then we would be observing the price slowly grinding higher, breaking this trend line because they believe it's going to go up and the settlement is here. Or in the other side, you don't see whales dumping XRP and the price dropping. Because if they expect this to happen on 15th, either on the negative side or on the positive side, we will see price fluctuation, whether to the upside or to the downside. But right now, the market is not pricing in such a statement. So yeah, it's a rumor. So we really don't know whether that's going to turn positive. I would say just consider 5% probability for that to become a truth. Unless this pattern breaks, as a trader, as a technical analyst, you wouldn't actually put that perspective like, okay, we are going to break to the upside, right? Watching this, keeping the bias of being an XRP holder for a long term out, you would actually look at this and say, okay, this break to the downside does not look good. Your retest is slowing down, and you're not waiting. But the only positive stuff which you observe here is your bottom trend line is a rising trend line, which then pushes you to check okay, then what's the price action showing you? Great, you got a trend line. Great, what's the price action showing you? There is still a possibility it can be a 2 candle or 3 candle reversals. We have talked through that many times, so I'm not actually pulling it up from the Google images. You know what it actually means. So if that happens, it's actually good. If it does not, we are coming back down to 0.33. So if it happens, now you're going back up to 0.5. Still, you are inside this trend line, which is a hard thing, because unless you break this, we are not literally looking for a 180%. But if we do, then yes, that 180% can actually take us all the way up to 1.4, 1.5. We were waiting for that, and then the FTX came in, which slowed us down. Imagine if it was not there, we had time and energy in the market to push the market to the upside, because we already got all these major signals confirming that you broke higher, you retested, now you're going back up. We want to see the MACD bouncing. This here is a Sunday. So as soon as you enter to the next day, you will actually be able to observe that this bounce of MACD to the positive range is going to push in more money. That's usually the case. But right now, if you actually put in the 50-day moving average along with the 21-day moving average on a 3-day or a daily and throw it into a XRP chart, you're like, okay, the 20 is actually moving to the upside when the price is going to the downside. So you need to actually understand that dynamics in the market, because last time when this happened, meaning the 20 crossed the 50 to the downside, 20 crossed the 50 to the downside, and then the 20 was slowly moving down and then bouncing back up. That's here. The price came into that range and then bounced. So if that's to repeat, that does mean you are coming down here. That's okay, because afterwards, like what happened here, you have a probability that you may go up. Now, it's not 100%, but you still have that there in the market. So it's not completely negative. We are literally waiting to see that this happens. But as you go up, this is going to be a little bit of resistance, because that was a previous support and a resistance. So we need to actually see that level break. And if we do see that breaking, now that's actually a positive news, even on a macro, micro, whichever level you go in. Now, just to zoom in and to look at, say, just the 21-day moving average, say a hourly chart, yeah, it's negative. Being frank, it's negative. The hourly moving average is trending to the downside. Price is low. It does not actually look great. Now, what you can do is look at the Heikin-Ashi chart here, which is going to be a little bit easier for you to understand. And I would argue that next week is not going to be great based on the Heikin-Ashi. Now, why is that? If you have followed Heikin-Ashi charts, usually the candles, the bearish candles, show you the next week is going to be bearish. So if you follow that equation, that means the next week is going to be bearish. And then this gets a higher probability when the price is below the 21-day moving average. If you observe this, each time the price bounced, that was a red candle, meaning the bear candle, but it was above the moving average, so it held. When it was below that, it happened to actually continue. So right now, when we are below this, I would actually put that understanding aside and say if the market actually shows me there is a possibility to drop, I would actually look more like 0.3 to 0.35 and wait here to see that drop, because that's going to be positive. Actually, that's positive. You get that drop And on a weekly or a macro, you get a positive note. Like, okay, you hit this level, you're retesting that, and you're trying to bounce back up. Why is that? Because the MACD is near the positive territory. The RSI has already shown you bouncing from the retest. So that gives me more into the thought process of we made a double bottom, we went up, this is the retest, and I'm going to bounce. Because if you actually take out the Heikin-Ashi candle, you can see if we did not have that volatility from the FTX, we would have stayed above this. Remember what happened way before? When we had a massive news from the SEC, we went below that, but then we made this pattern and went up. So what do you want to focus on? You want to actually focus on this area. Now, I know it's taking a little bit longer, but look at this. If you follow this, you will see something. You come down, you go up, then you make this pattern a slower correction to the downside, and then a bounce. Great. If you get that perspective, that's what I'm personally looking at. You come down a little bit lower and then bounce. Because, on a daily, you'll still see like price came till this point. So you coming back down to 0.3, 0.5. It's not a bad thing. You can still bounce harder, and that bounce may allow us to break through this range and test the 0.5 range. So guys, if you are receiving value for your time, please do hit that like and subscribe button. And if you have another 5 minutes more, please do visit this channel of mine and watch one of the videos and inform me what do you think. So guys, that's it for today. I'll meet you on the next video. Bye-bye.